Hi, welcome to ArkIntel. Rihanna, a name synonymous with talent, glamour, and unstoppable ambition, just claimed a title that turns heads, billionaire. But hold on, before you celebrate another self-made success story, ask yourself this. What if the path to billionaire status isn't what it seems? What if behind the glitz and the triumph lies a carefully crafted illusion? A story designed to keep you chasing a dream that was never meant for you to catch. Today, we are pulling back the wheel on the so-called self-made billionaire and exposing the hidden truths behind their rise to the top. By the end of this video, you might never look at wealth or the system that creates it the same way again. In a world of over 8 billion people, fewer than 3,000 individuals hold billionaire status globally. In the United States, it is even more exclusive, around 600 people, or just 0.0002% of the population. That's like trying to win the lottery while blindfolded. Yet, these stories dominate our screens, flooding social media, books, and even classrooms with the message that anyone can reach such heights with enough effort. The truth? These success stories aren't blueprints for the average person. They are outliers in a system built to reward an extremely small elite. Instead of inspiring, these narratives often mislead, creating unrealistic expectations and obscuring the structural barriers that keep wealth concentrated at the top. Let's turn to Rihanna, a name that evokes glamour and success. Her Fenty beauty empire is lauded as a game changer in the beauty industry, celebrated for inclusivity and innovation. But behind every billion-dollar brand is a much larger machinery. Fenty Beauty operates through a partnership with LVMH, one of the largest luxury conglomerates in the world. LVMH provides the infrastructure, manufacturing, and global distribution that smaller entrepreneurs could never dream of accessing. And then there's the darker side of success. Reports of labor exploitation in factories linked to Fenty Beauty have surfaced. Workers overseas, often in unsafe conditions, make pennies to produce products that sell for premium prices. While Rihanna's achievements are remarkable, her story also highlights the uneven playing field where a few reap massive rewards while others are left struggling at the margins. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, two names synonymous with the self-made myth, are prime examples of how these narratives are carefully curated. Bezos often shares his origin story of starting Amazon in a garage, but he leaves out that small detail that his parents invested $300,000 into his business, money that most people could never have access to. That wasn't just seed money, it was a lifeline that allowed him to take risks without the fear of total failure. Similarly, Elon Musk frequently portrays himself as a genius entrepreneur who overcame adversity. But his family's wealth from an emerald mine during apartheid South Africa gave him a head start that most of us can't even imagine. These stories are polished to inspire admiration, but they hide the advantages that propelled these individuals to the top. The billionaire class isn't just about talent or hard work, it's deeply tied to systemic privilege. Studies show that nearly half of billionaires inherit significant wealth or businesses. This means they don't just start the race ahead of everyone else. They are often at the finish line before others even begin. And let's not ignore the demographics. White men overwhelmingly dominate the list of billionaires. Meanwhile, women and people of color, those who face the steepest societal hurdles, make up only a fraction of this elite group. This disparity isn't a coincidence. It's the result of systemic inequities that determine who gets access to resources, opportunities, and networks. When billionaires are praised as self-made, these privileges are conveniently erased from the narrative. Here's a truth that billionaires don't like to discuss. No one builds a billion-dollar fortune alone. Behind every successful business are workers whose labor generates the wealth. Yet, these workers are often paid far less than the value they produce. A striking example comes from an Ohio pizza shop where, for one day, the owner decided to give employees the full value of their labor. The result? Workers earned $78 an hour. That's the difference between what they generate and what they are actually paid. Now, think about this on a global scale. Billionaires like Rihanna and Beyoncé have been linked to sweatshop labor, where workers, often children, earn mere pennies for each grueling hour they work. These practices may be out of sight, but they are a central part of how wealth is concentrated at the top. Despite their public disdain for government intervention, billionaires often rely heavily on public funds to build their empires. Elon Musk, for instance, has benefited from a staggering $4.9 billion in government subsidies and loans for Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity. These funds didn't come from thin air, they came from taxpayers. The pharmaceutical industry provides another telling example. Public money funds the research and development of life-saving medications. But once the drugs are ready, private corporations take over, hiking prices and pocketing the profits. This isn't the free market working as advertised. It's a system where public risk creates private reward, leaving ordinary people to shoulder the burden. The billionaire myth does more than mislead. It actively harms society. It convinces people to accept policies that benefit the ultra-rich at the expense of everyone else. Take taxes, for example. Billionaires use loopholes and offshore accounts to avoid paying for their fair share, draining resources from public services like schools, healthcare, and infrastructure. Meanwhile, everyday people are left to pick up the slack. The result? A society where wealth hoarding at the top leaves communities struggling to fund basic needs. This isn't just about inequality, it's about a system that prioritizes the few at the expense of the many. Imagine an economy where the wealth created by workers stays within their communities. In this world, workers are paid fairly for the value they produce, and public resources like schools, healthcare, and infrastructure are prioritized over billion-dollar tax breaks for corporations. This isn't about punishing ambition. It's about ensuring that success benefits everyone, not just a few at the top. Societies with fairer wealth distribution and stronger safety nets have consistently shown higher standards of living for all, proving that shared prosperity is not just idealistic but achievable. True success isn't measured by how much one person can hoard. It's measured by how many lives we can uplift together. The billionaire narrative is a seductive story, but it's built on privilege, exploitation, and public resources. By idolizing billionaires, we give legitimacy to a system that hoards wealth for the few at the expense of the many. It's time to stop chasing the illusion of self-made success and start asking the real questions. How can we create a world where success is shared? How can we ensure that wealth doesn't come at the cost of dignity, fairness, and opportunity for all? The answers lie in the breaking free from the myths we've been sold and building a future that works for everyone.